Hello, class. Welcome to week 7 of our discussion topics here. And today, I had a kind of an idea I wanted to throw out there about the difference between great military commanders and their mediocre to average scores while attending a military institution. I think it's quite funny how sometimes those people or individuals in high command weren't necessarily the best students when it came to all of the different courses that they take. When you attend a military academy, let's say like West Point or VMI or even Sandhurst over in England, you have to take your generic courses, your math, your arithmetic, English, all that stuff on top of your military science classes and things like that. So I think it's kind of funny how some of our great military commanders, not only here in the United States, but also the individual I am working on, Sir Douglas Haig, were somewhat mediocre students when it came to the mundane, I have to math or arithmetic or anything like that. But then when it came to battlefield genius, they were just off the charts in their command decision. There's actually two commanders I'm looking at. One obviously is Sir Douglas Haig and his classroom etiquette, and when he was at Sandhurst in the late 1880s, the 1890s, and then also a Civil War commander, General James Longstreet, and his career in the American Civil War. What's kind of funny is that Sir Douglas Haig was a great admirer of General Longstreet. Even though Douglas Haig was only 4 years old when the American Civil War was happening, later on he took great care in emphasizing some of the great tactical work that General Longstreet had in the Civil War. Now, what's funny about General Longstreet is that he attended West Point but graduated 54th out of 62 cadets. So, way at the bottom, you have this great military commander, generally referred to as his old warhorse, graduated at the bottom of his class. But it turned out he was a great military commander. He had the foresight needed to be a great military commander. Sir Douglas Haig, basically the same thing. I have a book by John Terrain about the ordeal of victory. It's about Sir Douglas Haig, and there's a passage in here I want to read that kind of sums up what I'm talking about when it comes to mediocre students in the mundane courses, but yet when it comes to battlefield tactician greatness, he was one of the best. And this passage is kind of funny. His friend James Edmonds is writing about Douglas Haig in a exercise they had to do about doing a research or a recon sketch of an area, and about how if we're going to move so many infantry regiments or cavalry, whatever. And James Edmonds is going on about how the rest of the class there at Sandhurst took great care in preparing this, but not Douglas Haig, which is kind of funny. I'll read it to you. Here it goes. I remember a road reconnaissance sketch on which most of us had lavish extreme care, marking all the letter boxes, pumps, gateways into fields, and such like. Haig, handing a sheet with a single brown chalk line down the center. The crossroads shown and the endorsement, 20 miles long, good surface, wide enough for 2 columns with orderlies both ways. And so that just kind of shows he was bored with that kind of stuff. But when it came to battlefield decision making, he was above the rest. Some of the sources, other than John Terrain's, I'm looking into for this idea is Elizabeth Greenhall. I've used her several times in my master's program when I was studying the BEF. She's a historian when it comes to British Expeditionary Force, British military matters, especially Douglas Haig. And her concept is she wrote this imposition of Allied command in March of 1918. Basically, Haig's relationship with different Allied commanders. You had Joffrey in the French, and you also had General Pershing with the Americans and stuff like that. And then the way that he had these battlefield tacticians, and the way that he, said, "Hey, this is how the war is going, and this is what we need to do." So it really dives into that. He was really prepared. He was really intuitive when it came to command decisions on the Western Front in 1918. Even though the war was almost over, by no means it was won. At any time the Germans could counterattack, which they've had several times in the past. Andrew Wiest made a great bibliography of when it came to Douglas Haig, the evolution of a commander. And like John Terrain, he basically went from when Douglas Haig first entered military service all the way up until his memoirs were published in the late 1920s, I believe. So another great source out there, same thing. He basically goes into how Sir Douglas Haig was an average commander, or I'm sorry, an average student at Sandhurst, but a great commander. And then the last one I have is Stephen Bradley, and I've used him as well in several other courses, and his evolution of cavalry. And Sir Douglas Haig started out in the cavalry in the Egyptian wars. He was a cavalry officer, and in the Boer War, he was a cavalry, let's say, attaché, or basically a somebody that's helped out with cavalry decisions and stuff like that during the Boer War. But he was much higher rank at the time, so he didn't really participate in actually cavalry charges or cavalry like that. But he was a decision maker when it came to that kind of thing. And he goes back and forth to his time at Sandhurst and about how Sir Douglas Haig was interested in the practical exercise, being out in the field, putting things together instead of being in the classroom. So I think it's a great correlation to how sometimes some of our military commanders, some of our great military commanders, are mediocre students but great field commanders. Thank you.